So it is, my dear ones. So it's such an important thing for you and for me right now to stay very, very consciously connected with our source. And I don't mean that by being down on our hands and knees praying all the time. Not at all. Just by staying awake and remembering there's more working through me than meets the eye, as there is through all of life. And that I am always accompanied, always accompanied. Now, Ernest Holmes, genius that he was able to take all of science and all of religion and all of philosophy and see the golden thread running through all. Brought it under the umbrella of one name, the science of mind and spirit. And the whole focus of that was presence. That this presence was the same presence in everything and everyone, regardless of what we want to name it or call it. And that we are so deeply interconnected with each other under the one common truth. That God is all there is, and there is only God. There's only the one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. One. One love, one life, one light. And it is divine, meaning it is so much far more than you and me and all of us put together and anything we've ever known or are uncovering. Because everything flows out of that one mind, one power, one infinite intelligence. Now, this can sound kind of detached and sort of too much of a focus on the cold plateau of logic. Not at all. I have to say that in the study of the science of mind and spirit, I have come to know much more deeply and much more fully what I have known through orthodoxy, that the presence of God is always with us, and that each one of us is its representative, its image, its likeness, in form at this time on this plane. And that presence is a sensation and a deep, deep feeling that's beyond a feeling of wholeness and safety and security and cherishment, and all that you might think of being good and whole and wholesome. That's what we come to know when we live in the presence, and we court the presence. All of the great mystics says, we must court the presence. Why? Because the presence is always courting us, and it's only polite to court back, my dear ones. It's the thing to do. It really is. And so when we get used to not seeing a deity up there, out there, somewhere, a mystery that cannot be fathomed, and a power that cannot be reached, when we stop thinking in those terms, feeling in those terms, and we start understanding that all around and all about me, I'm divinely embraced, I'm held in this full embrace of spirit, everlastingly. Everlastingly. I am with you always, as I have always been, and I shall always be with you, are the words in the great book. All great books, actually, in their own way, say the same thing. Now, you and I are on a spiritually unfolding path so that we can get into that sense and sensibility, and so that we can walk confidently through our lives on this plane, so that we can have that faith and that trust in divine providence. Ernest Holmes says in one of his very, very last sermons, it's called the Sermon by the Sea. It's the very end of that Sermon by the Sea. He says, give me that thousand people. And 1,000 people just indicates a small number, a quantum number, which may be much smaller than you and I could ever imagine. And he said, give me these 1,000 people who so know and use the principles of science of mind and spirit. And who can walk with God, in God, to God, together? And he says, we will move into a new dawn, and the world will no longer be famished, and we will live in faith and trust and beyond hope and longing, and we will see a new world. I think about that a lot, and I believe that to be so. But that's not going to happen without what? You and I have a price to pay. When Kobe Bryant was asked by many of the youngsters who wanted to follow in his footsteps, how to do that, he said, oh, you can have greatness and you can achieve excellence, but he says you have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. The work has to be done. There's no do this quickly. Anything worthwhile, there's no do this quickly. Just because you've made up your mind this is what you want and it's going to happen. Hey, presto. No, it's a process. Why? Because we're living on planet Earth, three-dimensional planet Earth, and we're carrying around with us human minds and human bodies and all the rest of it. So we are far more dense than we are in our spiritual formlessness, in our invisibility. Then it's like quicksilver. But we have to adjust to being in material form. And so anything in material form is in process, in process, in process. So that greatness and that excellence is there for you and for me to accomplish and to achieve. There's no doubt about it. But we have to put in the work, and the work is doing whatever it takes to wake up. Now, I don't know what that is for you. It's different for everybody. But you have to do whatever it takes to wake up. What does that mean? Be conscious, be aware, be mindful. To be present to your aliveness, to be present in your living, to be aware of what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're feeling, what's going on. To be awake and aware. That's the work, because most of us on this planet are just on auto drive. We're on automatic. We just get up and go through the day mostly automatically. That's not what we are here to do or be. We're here to celebrate our lives, to be in awe and wonder with regard to all of the beauty and the grace and the mystery of it all. And we miss so much of what would bring us awe and wonder. I remember once upon a time in Sedona, sitting out up in the rocks, my legs dangling over and looking out into the valley and up into the sky. Millions of stars. Movement in the sky. And I thought to myself, if this happened once every 25 years, the place would be packed for that one occasion so that people could experience the awe and the wonder and the mystery of it all. But because we get this kind of thing all of the time, we don't even see it anymore. We don't recognize it anymore. It's the same with a garden. I like to come in here at times and wander up and down looking out into the garden and see how everything is growing and so on and so forth. If a lily bloomed once in 10 years, everybody would be making a pilgrimage to see it. But creation is lavish, 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 abundant. And you and I are supposed to experience that abundance. Yes, in hard times and good times and all times. It's still spring out there. I'm charmed every day I come in here to the center because the birds are chirping up a storm. They're sweetly singing and chirping and being busy going about the business of taking care of chicks and so on and so forth. The flowers are just delightful. The buds on the trees are profuse. And I have learned to observe all of that. I want to. I want to put my mind on something that puts a smile on my face and lifts up my spirit as much as I possibly can in the day, and I make the endeavor to do that. And I'm saying to us all, yes, these are very challenging times like no other time I've ever seen in my lifetime, that's for sure. But amidst all of that, there's amazing things to be in awe and wonder of, especially people right now. Those on the front lines who are showing up to serve in spite of their own fear. They're feeling the fear, but they're doing it anyway. You know, and I've always had a soft spot for unsung heroes. Always. Those are the ones that impress me far more than all the celebrity can. And there's no such thing, even though I'm using the word, because I don't know what other word to use. Ordinary, everyday men and women and children going about the business of life and living, and doing it in such a quiet way, an unassuming way. It's an incredible thing. Helga Brown reminds us of that, you know, about when we initiate good somewhere, there are those who initiate good, and they do it just because of a pure impulse within them to initiate good. And they've no sense of it gives me joy, or, you know, people like that, or I get clapped on the back for something. Nothing. They just do it from a pure inner instinct, urge, and nudge, and an intuitive thing that sees I could make a difference here, and they make the difference, never with any thought of any kind of comeback. I was reading this morning as I was doing my spiritual reading, and I can't even remember which book it was because I have a half a dozen books. If you were to see my bed, right down one side of the bed is a whole row of books, like a little mini library. So if I wake up in the night, I just reach out and I get one, and here I go. But it said there are 4 types of prayer. One is the gimme prayer, the prayer petition. And another prayer is a oops prayer. And that's the prayer seeking forgiveness. Oops, got to get that sorted out now, forgiveness. And then there's the wow prayer, the prayer of awe and wonder. The wow prayer. And then there's the prayer of gratitude. Praise and gratitude. Because when you and I are put into a state of awe and wonder, we can't help but praise the cause of our awe and wonder. And when we're in awe, wonder, and praise, we're automatically filled with that beauteous grace of gratitude. It just overcomes us and fills us, and it's a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And when you're in a state of gratitude, I'm in a state of gratitude, I can't be in any other kind of state. I can't be ballyragging, I can't be bitter, I can't be envious, I can't be jealous, I can't be whatever, complaining and moaning and whining and gossiping and so on. There's no way that's going to happen when I'm in a state of awe, wonder, praise, and gratitude. So there's great benefit to being in that state. Great benefit for each and every one of us. And be on the lookout for something that's going to awe you and cause you wonder. It's the unexpected good in any day. The unexpected good in a day. And every day when I awaken, I'm giving thanks for my expected and unexpected good, and I get giddy about the unexpected good. It's always such fun. Always such fun. And what you expect, you experience. What you expect, you experience. But we have to get up every day, regardless of what we're feeling, with the hop, skip, and jump in our spirit, at least, so that we can move the body into that eventually. A hop, skip, and jump, my gosh. You wake up in the morning and say, oh, gee whiz, God chose to wake up in me today, and now I'm going to choose to wake up in God. Or whatever your first thoughts are. That's one of mine sometimes, and sometimes it's this is the day that life has made, and I'm glad and I rejoice in it. You know, we all have our own little ways of coming to things. But anything that reminds you and reminds me to be something greater than we are, because this is a time when we are called to be more than ever we've been before. More than ever we've been before. And this is our greatest time of opportunity to serve. And we can serve very well in our own homes. In fact, it's the first way we serve, by staying at home. But while we are at home, we have the opportunity to reach out in so many ways to others and to serve in that way too. We have an opportunity to get to know ourselves much better, that's for sure. And that's a great opportunity to achieve greatness and excellence, to get to know ourselves. Now, I would advise us all too, in the midst of all of the nonsense that's going on as well, all of these myths and all of these, conspiracy theories and God knows what not that we allow ourselves to fill us up. We are so superstitious. Oh my gosh, it's unbelievable how still superstitious the human being can be. It's hard to let go of that. It's primordial. But let go we must. And in our teaching of Science of Minds and Spirit, Ernest says so, there is absolutely no superstition in it, and there is absolutely no absolute dogma in it, and there's absolutely no opinion in it. All it's focusing on is the truth that sets us free. What is that? That we are greater than we think we are. We are more than we ever could imagine ourselves to be. Even we might imagine ourselves to be good and all the rest of it. We're better than that. We're more than that. We're greater than that. There's more to discover. And if ever anybody could utter these words, it would be divine. But wait, there's more. But wait, there's more. Which reminds me, the one thing that's going to stand to your good stead and mine is a sense of humor. A sense of humor is not blasphemy. Indeed, it is not. It's essential and necessary. That's why it says laughter is the best medicine in Scripture. So whatever chance you get to laugh throughout the day, laugh. Put on I Love Lucy or whatever it takes to make you laugh, especially when you're feeling most miserable. Most miserable. I'm reminded of some stories. I was again reading one of my spiritual books this morning. All books are spiritual in some way or another, and some of my books are my best friends, and one of them was this chapter on humor, and it tells about this group of primary school children, and they're all lined up, and they're going into the cafeteria, and the good nun is leading them into the cafeteria, and there's a big bowl of apples at the end of the table, and it's written, "Just take one, remember God is watching." And then they're settling down, and then they see a big plate of cookies on another table, and a little boy had written on it, "Take as many as you want because God is watching the apples." You see? Little things that make us smile, that make us laugh, always a good thing. Always a good thing. To be in joy, because we're told again, God loves a cheerful giver. My mother always used to say, do not give the pants and cut the buttons out of them. You know, when you're getting things ready to give to Goodwill and so on. Don't cut the buttons out of the pants. What good is that? What good is that? She also used to say, be careful when you are giving to people in need. They want your best, not your cast-offs. They're in dire straits enough without feeling that they have to receive somebody's cast-offs. She would say, give them your best. Give them your best. See, our mothers knew a thing or two. And your grandparents especially, who came through all kinds of challenges during the Depression and so on and so forth, they had this wonderful inner wisdom that knew how to cope and knew how to manage and handle things, because they had a faith in something greater than themselves. They really did. Now, where is your faith at the moment? Where is mine? What am I thinking? What am I feeling right now? Am I thinking at the moment the world is going to hell in a handbasket? Never, never. The world is better than ever it was before, believe it or not. The world is always improving. It's always advancing and improving. And yes, things look dire out there, but that's passing. And we're in the situation together to grow in wisdom and grace, to learn, to become more of ourselves. It's calling forth within us a greatness that we've been unaware of. And the greatest of these would be faith and trust. Am I going to hunker down in fear, or am I going to stand tall in faith? That's the question. Who are you listening to? What are you listening to right now? Television? God help us. People who are just sharing opinions and nonsense? Here's where we listen. Here's what we listen to, the truth that resides within you and resides within me, because it does. And I don't care how miserable you might be feeling right now, how rotten and awful your past has been right now. It matters not. It's done, it's gone. Where it belongs is where it is. Behind you. Today, you can decide anything. You can be anything you want to be, think anything you want to think, feel anything you want to feel. Remember, it's a choice, it's a decision. Happiness is never the result of any one thing. It is the result of a decision I make in every now moment. It's a choice to begin with before it becomes a feeling. So remember how great you are. Remember how powerful you are. Remember the strength that resides at the center core of your being, and draw from that. And know you measure up, because you do. You can do this thing called life right here and right now, and you can do it well. And we will know for all of those who are undergoing this challenge and who are caught up in it and experiencing it, that life within them knows how to handle that situation. But remember, words are not going to do it. The power is not in saying words, praying words, not at all. I could be whistling Dixie. It's the conviction with which I pronounce the words that gets the work job done. The conviction, the feeling that I have within me in every fiber of my bodily being and in the essence of my true being. The conviction that good comes out of this, because I am knowing good comes out of this. I am open to good coming out of this. And though 10,000 fall by my one side and 2,000 by my other side, I can walk with serenity through this experience that we are all in right now. And it's not to say we won't be in and out of different moods and feelings, but we'll know they're just different moods and feelings, and they're not my truth. But I will honor them when they come. I will receive them when they come. I will bless them on their way, and know that's temporary, very temporary. But we honor our experience because a feeling is real. But I can exchange it for another feeling. The mind is a powerful thing, and that's where the choices are made, in mind. So, my dear ones, I would say to you, do whatever it is that makes you feel good, in good ways. Do good things that make you feel good, in good ways. Whatever that is. I'm not going to tell you, here, follow this formula and you'll be okay. No, that will be my formula. You have to find your own. That's the thing about it. You have to do your own work to achieve that kind of awareness and a wakefulness, to do your own work. So whatever that is, if it's a bit of gardening, if it's a walk, safe walk, listening to music, make a cup of tea, whatever. talk to a friend. Whatever is going to pick you up out of yourself. That's what's good for you. Your small self I'm talking about. So when Larry begins to visit me, my little froggy friend, he's saying, okay, enough already, get off it. It's time to bring this to a close. It's a joy to be with you, always. And so, my dear ones, take care. And remember, God dwells in you, as you. You're okay, and so it is.